For some reason, I have never sold the complete tally for every Super Paper Mario villain. Old Chunks and Mr. L and Mimi's, I think, stayed the same, but Dimensio's, we also the actual spreadsheet, which is 8 death penalties, 14 life sentences, 11 years and 3 months, and also, Count Black has 11 death penalties. Yes, 11 death penalties. It still isn't that. But what is the worst Mario villain so far? So we have covered Paper Mario and Mario Luigi. So we'll be doing Mario Luigi first. The Shroobs have 9 death penalties on their name. 130 years, 46 life sentences, and they have to pay 10,000 coins. Okay, this would automatically make them the worst villains after all because they commit the most amount of life sentences. And of course, the other Mario Luigi villains we covered is the Extension Corp. The Extension Corp is nowhere near as bad as Shroobs. They do have various crimes, but they're mostly more smaller crimes, with the few death penalties they hold, and all their attempts to kill the Mario Bros as well. But Rayquaza has got to be the worst of the 3 Mario Luigi villains. He doesn't have many minor crimes like the Shroobs do, but he has 12 death penalties and he has murdered so many innocent universes. Yeah, you gotta realize this. Rayquaza likely has committed mass omnicide. We don't know how many times. I just gave a 5 omnicides just to be generous. But again, it's not applied how many universes Rayquaza has destroyed. So I'm gonna think that Rayquaza's crimes are even worse than the Shroobs, considering the fact that the Shroobs never committed omnicide. And then we have Paper Mario's villains. So the first one is Hooktail, who has 2 death penalties from terrorism and mass murder. Also, Hooktail has 15 life penalties for murder, as well as attempted murder, which includes you and your partner as well, whichever partner you have left. Also Grand Larceny as well, and reckless endangerment. This will put Hooktail at number 4, as Hooktail isn't as bad as the other three characters so far. Next is Grubber. Grubber, however, is actually lower than Hooktail, as Grubber has no death penalties. Yes. However, Grubber still has 11 life sentences and has to pay an enormous amount of fines as well. Dupless actually even has a lower sentence as well. Yeah. As he doesn't have as many crimes as other characters. So Dupless and Grubber will actually fall beneath Hooktail in terms of crimes as well. Sir Grodus has got to be one of the worst ones of them all. He has 8 life penalties and 3 death penalties. However, we cannot ignore the over 1,000 years for kidnapping every puny and false imprisoning them. Lord Crump isn't that far behind with 4 death penalties. We're going to put both of them together. But Sir Grodus does. However, Lord Crump has more screen time. However, Lord Crump is still taking orders from Sir Grodus, which means most of Lord Crump's crimes are still under the orders of Sir Grodus as well, making Sir Grodus even worse than Lord Crump. Then we have Beldam. Or Beldam. I think I put Beldam the Pokemon. Yeah, Beldam the Pokemon has 2 death penalties. Yeah. But Beldam, the leader of the Shadow Sirens as well, has 2 death penalties and 6 life sentences as well, including 2 Grand Larceny and attempted Grand Larceny. That's where most of the years come from as well. Yeah. Also, stalking is, a crime. And of course, you have Lord Bowser himself. Yeah. Lord Bowser has 1 death penalty, which we're using Paper Bowser here. Again, we only covered Bowser Door and Super Paper Mario as well here. Bowser's crimes and this so far has only been the 1,000-Year Door. So, Beldam and Bowser However, Paper Bowser is likely to rise in this list, considering the fact he's the main villain of 3 Paper Mario games. Yeah, we haven't covered Sega Style Color Splash or Paper Mario 64, where he's the main villain of all 3 games. And of course, you have the Shadow Queen. 4 death penalties, 7 life sentences, in 14 years. Again, the Shadow Queen doesn't have a lot of screen time compared to other villains. Which is why, for example, certain villains have more crimes under their belts. However, the Shadow Queen has the most death penalties besides Lord Crump as well, which was actually, and also 7 life penalties as well, which overrules most of them as well. Also, the fact considering the fact that Lord Crump and Sir Glorious are trying to revive the Shadow Queen as well. So Shadow Queen will be in 3rd place of the worst, most evil Mario villain. Then we have Super Paper Mario's villains as well. There was one villain we did not cover in Super Paper Mario, and I think that's the flower villain. I forgot the character's name, but that's the only villain that doesn't really work for Count Bleck as well. Maybe we'll do a separate video on their crimes as well. I forgot what the villain's called. I know it's like a flower. The leader of the leader of the four sapiens as well. Oh yeah, King Quorkus, whoever his name is, as well. The other villain we could do is Boneser. The problem is they don't really have much screen time. Also, King Quorkus was, basically, having to deal with the Crackdowns polluting water as well. So both sides are equally as guilty. But we mostly just charge the main villains. Mr. L and Old Chunks have the least amount of crimes, with only 3 attempted murders, as he fights them 3 times throughout the story. However, Mr. L is brainwashed, so he is the least evil of them, because once he's no longer brainwashed, he becomes Luigi again, and Luigi becomes a good guy. Old Chunks is just following orders from Count Bleck, so he is second to last. And then, of course, we have the 3rd most evil Paper Mario villain. Super Paper Mario villain is Mimi. Mimi has 119 years, a lot of ID theft and reckless endangerment, and also enslavement as well. As yes, Mimi enslaves, people to basically have an unpayable debt that you cannot pay off ever as well. Yeah. And of course, you have Count Bleck. Count Bleck has 11 death penalties, including the evasion of Mushroom Kingdom, including 7 attempted omnicides, as well as he attempted to destroy all universes. Yeah. Mass brainwashing of Luigi, which we counted separately, because Mr. L commits a lot of crimes himself. And another omnicide as well. And also we have Dementio as well, with 8 death penalties, and Count Bleck with 11. So Dementio and Count Bleck, number 2 and number 3. And that is currently the Mario villains so far. We have not covered the mainline games, Mario plus Rabbids, or we have not covered we still have not covered a majority of Mario and Luigi villains. So, Tasma is not on there, Cacretta, and of course, Farfel, of course, are going to get their own ones. King Ari will eventually rank here somewhere. All of the members of the region are stationary as well. And of course, we'll do one final ranking in the video to assess the most evil Mario villains as well. Here. Who is truly the most heinous and most evil Mario characters, and who are the least evil and least heinous Mario character. The reason why Count Bleck is number 3 is at the very, very, very end of the game, he redeems himself. So that makes him number 3. Meanwhile, Dementio stayed pure evil to the very, very, very end of the game. The Shrooms are only at number 4 because they committed the equal amount of crimes. However, the Shrooms only wanted to destroy one world, as Count Bleck and Dimentio want to erase all of existence. I think those crimes are worse than the others. And even the Sour Queen, you could argue, are worse than the Stroobs. However, the Sour Queen doesn't have enough screen time. Sir Gross and World Crump is mostly just terrorism and stuff as well. Extended Corp could go either way. However, kidnapping every single puny and falsely imprisoning them is far worse than the crimes that the Extension Corp has done. Then we have, of course, Paper Bowser, whose crimes are just mostly minor crime and, murder. Beldam, the evil, or is it Beldam? I think it's Beldam. If you guys want to correct me in the comments, you can, and I'll recorrect it in later videos. But Beldam from Paper Mario, Seed, does a lot of heinous crimes. However, she's still mostly working for the Sour Queen. Same thing with Hooktail. However, Grubber, the only reason why Grubber is below the two is that Grubber has not really committed any death penalties, which is surprising given the fact that Grubber is very corrupt as well, and it's mostly just a corrupt businessman as well. Same thing with Dupless. Dupless mostly does stuff to basically piss people off. And then Old Chunks and Mr. L does boss battles as well. And yeah, that is the current ranking as well. Of course, this list will change when we include characters like King Ari and Tazma and many more Mario villains as well, including the villains from, of course, Mario plus Rabbids. Also, we'll be counting Bowser's crimes in Mario plus Rabbids separately, Bowser in the main wide Mario games separately, and also Bowser and Mario Luigi separately as well, considering the fact that those games are spin-offs, and we're counting those separately. Also, we have to still do the Mario RPG villains as well, as we can't count them out as well as they still exist as well. So we'll get to Mario RPG later on as well. And also King Ari in the Raids in the Stationary, and also all the villains in the original Paper Mario as well. And of course, there's probably some other more obscure Mario villains. And also, we're going to eventually count King Boo and King K. Rool, and also Donkey Kong Country villains as well. And maybe we can also throw in Wario villains as well to complete the list of Mario villains at the very end. And yeah, there's a lot of evil characters in the Mario universe as well. And yeah, Donkey Kong Country and Wario World / Wario Land / Wario World is still spin-offs of the Mario universe as well. And then we'll get to other game series as well. And also, if there's any other future Mario villains, they will also be in this list. So that one video where Cruz is the most evil Mario villain is correct, because the thing is, we don't know how many worlds Reclusa has destroyed, and the fact that he simply does it because it's fun. Meanwhile, Count Black basically just wants to destroy all universes because he's sad, and basically sad he lost his one and only, and Dimentio still wants to create new universes. Meanwhile, Reclusa just leaves nothing behind. Same thing with even like the Sour Queen, she still wants to rule the universe at the very end of the day, under her way. Same thing with the Stroobs. They will still be alive, however, everyone else is dead. Meanwhile, characters like Old Chunkus Mr. L just attempt to kill Mario and his friends along the way. So yeah. Goodbye.